sure they're scrambling to try to create their own version of this show. Right. This is one thing that keeps coming up, like we need our own Joe Rogan.
Right.
But they had me. It was
well, number one.
So Republican lawmakers are demanding answers from President Biden's physician and other former White House officials over what they knew, when they knew it, regarding former President Biden's health issues.
Yeah, senior White House correspondent, the younger Peter Doocy, joins us now with more. Peter.
Good morning. And the small group of staffers that formed a tight circle around Joe Biden for his one and only term all just got letters from the House Oversight Committee to come in and explain what they did or did not do to conceal his decline from the American public. So the following Biden folks, go check your mail. His former physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the former director of the Domestic Policy Council, Neera Tanden, the former assistant to the president and chief of staff to the First Lady, Anthony Bernal, the former assistant to the president and deputy chief of staff, Annie Tomasini, and the former deputy assistant to the president and director of strategic outreach, Ashley Williams.
Put them on blast.
They're behind the scenes. They fly under the radar. These are the unelected bureaucrats that we believe had an overwhelming influence over Joe Biden and could have possibly been serving as de facto presidents of the United States.
Well, now one of the most legendary Democratic thinkers of the last century believes that nothing coming out this week should be that big of a surprise because the American people told pollsters it was a problem 2 years ago.
I think Jake and those book, I mean, it was a good book, but to me, it was a Waters wet book. Like I said, 80% of the country. I'll never forget in May of 2023, to be exact, I saw a Washington Post ABC poll, and I went, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It never changed.
I asked Caroline Leavitt if President Trump has followed up yet with folks that work in the offices here or that work in the residence to find some kind of files or some kind of backup to all of these Republican assertions that there were these de facto presidents, and she said that he has not yet. Back to you.
All right, Peter. The scandal continues. I think this is the right move. It needs to happen. It's important. We need to figure out who was running the White House.
Yeah.
When did they know the president was in decline? Everybody needs to be sworn under oath. And people should lose their jobs the next job they want. They shouldn't be hired as analysts. They shouldn't be hired at these big consulting firms or defense contracting jobs as well. They concealed the president's health. And honestly, the more and more we're learning from the book, it is clear no one told Joe Biden that he had lost a step. That's normal. That is normal in some point in time for someone to be in denial of their health situation when they have dementia or any type of cognitive decline. But it's up to the family and the people that surround the person to let them know. No one told the president.
Although I do want to point out that President Biden had his faculties when he was a United States senator and took classified documents. He also had his faculties when he was the vice president, and he also took classified information. And then he also had his mental faculties when he told his ghostwriter in 2017 that he knew he had classified information. So he is in the wrong here, and he should have been charged, in my opinion. But I think what's wild, well, first of all, it infuriates me that Jake Tapper is making money off this since he was part of that conspiracy and cover-up. But besides that point, what's crazy to me is this all began back in like 2019 for the 2020 campaign. He forgot an aide's name that he has known since 1981, Joey.
Yeah, you know, the Constitution specifies the minimum age a president has to be. So even the founders took into account mental acuity and maturity. I don't think they were as concerned about the latter end because, quite frankly, that long ago, you didn't live as long. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And I don't know if it's legislation. Obviously, the idea of any type of constitutional amendment at this point, as divided as we are, is probably pretty thin. But I feel like the real consequence here needs to be a piece of legislation that says we have more access to the medical records of a presidential candidate. I understand HIPAA and I believe in privacy 100%, but only one person gets to be president. Only a couple or a handful get to run for it, and you got to give up something to have that opportunity and responsibility. The real problem here, if you take all the politics, all the partisan parts away, regardless if you like what was happening under President Biden or not, the real problem is Can a group of people lie to the American people and put a charade in front of the American people and convince the American people to vote and put their trust and faith in someone to lead their country for now or 4 more years when that person couldn't lead his own daily schedule? And that's not even belittling Joe Biden. That's being honest about the state that now we're learning everyone knew he was in.
And that's just the truth that a lot of the people that voted for Biden didn't want to see. They didn't want to hear it. They keep pushing that the Republicans are conspiracy theorists and all this and that. And it's crazy now that we're in 2025. Some of these conspiracies are now coming to light as being the truth. And crickets from the Democratic Party. Crickets. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. Nobody likes to admit when they're wrong. I understand that. But when the truth comes out, you need to fess up. And, these people that are going to be swearing their oath to telling the truth of what actually happened, I hope the truth comes out. And like I've said, I don't know if I said it in another video, but if it is true that they were hiding all these things from the American people and lying to the American people about Joe Biden's health, Joe Biden, his actions from the moment they knew that he was in the decline of his health, everything he has implemented should be reversed if it was something that was against the American people. Quite a few things Trump has already, flipped, but I'm talking in regards to pardoning. The day before he gets out of being the president of the United States, Joe Biden decides to pardon his son from many years ago, and then so many of these corrupted people we know are corrupt and now can't be exposed because they've been pardoned. All these pardons need to be reversed because of this, in my opinion. And I haven't heard it on any news outlet yet, but I hope we the people can start bringing this into question. Hey, if he was in the decline, he did not have the mental capability to be pardoning individuals. That is my opinion. Let's check out the rest of this video.
Conceal this from the American people. So the Democrats have 2 problems. They have the Biden problem of lying to the American people for looks like almost a decade that he's been in decline. They lied to the American people on that. The other part is they have an identity crisis and they don't know how to communicate to the American people on basic things. And they're looking for their next Joe Rogan since they pushed him out of the party. But they're trying to throw money at it. And the New York Times put it this way. The quiet effort amounts to an audacious skeptic might say desperate, but that the Democrats can buy more cultural relevance online, despite the fact that casually right-leaning touchstones like Mr. Rogan's podcast were not built by political donors and did not raise overnight. They want to give money to this issue, but it's not organic, Lisa.
Exactly, and that's their problem. As we were speaking earlier in the show, it's not the messenger, it's the message of the Democrat Party. It's their ideas. It's the thing that Americans categorically reject some of these things like men and women's sports. They reject the idea of open borders. And a lot of we're just talking about like the basics, right? President Trump, he initiated a very common sense campaign. Right. And I think that's why he won the popular vote. I think that's why he won so many different groups of people, because they're like, yeah, that makes sense. I want sanity to be restored in America.
Yeah, let's listen to what Joe Rogan had to say about it.
I'm sure they're scrambling to try to create their own version of this show. Right. This is one thing that keeps coming up, like we need our own Joe Rogan. Right. But they had me. Well, number one, they had.
Real quick, I want to point this out. Maybe I'm a contrarian here. I don't think so. It's not, in my opinion, if you ever played the board game Risk, if you take ground and defend the ground you have, there's no ground to be taken back. That other side just loses ground. What's happened with the left is Joe Rogan and Elon Musk didn't move towards the right. It's just what they believed in through Trump, the right has adopted or brought forward as a part of their messaging. The Democrats haven't lost ground in individuals. They've lost ground on issues all across the board. They can't manufacture a spokesperson for a message that doesn't exist. When the Republicans say, we don't trust the pharmaceutical industry, when the Republicans say that we want people to have more access to information, those are things that are generally looked at as a liberal ideal. When the Republican Party has embraced liberalism as a part of its big tent, what does the left have left? other than crazy.
But the thing is, podcasts weren't.
It's so sad to say it like that, but that is the truth. And that's why I've mentioned in other videos that, the Democratic Party in 2025 is, from what I've heard and researched, is not the same as it used to be. A lot of the things back in the past the Democrats were preaching to the American people are what Republicans are doing today. Which is why there's been many people from the Democratic Party that have converted over to Republicans. Because this is the American way, like I have said. And the Democrats, what they're pushing today, are just a lot of nonsense. You need to identify as this. He, she, him, her, they, them, all this weird stuff. What? These people are literally pushing us backwards and not moving this country forward in a way where we can all grow into this country. Evolve. We're not evolving. We're literally creating more problems by allowing people that are on the left, far left, take control of the Democratic Party. This is why I've been saying in some other videos as well, is the Democrats need to stop what they're doing, really chill out, find one Democrat that is level-headed and that can represent their party and say, hey, listen, this is the path we need to take to meet the Republicans in the middle. Instead, all we're hearing online and everything that's been going on is just insults and hatred and division. Oh, Trump this, Trump that, who's in the White House? The felon's in the White House, blah, blah, blah. They're not coming up with any ideas on how to make American citizens' lives better. And that is the point. The American people want to choose a leader that's for them. The president works for us. We don't work for the president. So we elected Donald Trump because what he campaigned on was, I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm blunt with it. Trump got shot at and almost got killed because of the things he said. Nobody, the far left crazy people wanted him eliminated. What that tells the American citizens and the people that voted for Trump is that this is the man that's going to lead the way because he has the real balls to do it. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below.
Supposed to be a part of a political operation. It's supposed to be about conversations and talking with people and being able to talk for 3 hours about something and getting rid of the talking points. I think the problem with the Democratic Party is that they have no authenticity. Yeah. And they believe there's only one way of thinking. They hate disagreement. They hate thorough debate, and they suppress debate, which is why you got idiots on college campuses. When other people have different views, they shut them down.
Well, and I think the reason why the Democrat Party is struggling so badly with President Trump in office is they still have that myopic Washington, D.C. viewpoint, and you can't put President Trump in any sort of box. You can't put him in the Republican box. You can't put him in the Democrat box. He is totally unprecedented. He is a new paradigm. And so that's why they're struggling to try to figure out how to go after him, because to Joey's point, he created his own thing.
Trump created his own thing, that's for sure. The so-called MAGA movement. Now, I have said, too, in other videos that, people that are far-right MAGA, they're the ones that see Trump as the god of everything, or the king of everything. I personally do not see Trump as that. Trump is just another human being. He will pass away one day, like every single one of us, and we're going to have to elect new people who are going to be coming in to run the country, and hopefully this country can sustain itself with people that have the mindset of, okay, we have differences with other people. We need to sit down at the table, talk about these things, come to an agreement where both of us can benefit, and we run this country to protect the American citizens and help benefit them by implementing certain things for American people to strive in this country. And that's exactly what we need. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody.